Today on Treasure Hunting America, we'll meet Gary Edwards, a treasure hunter whose tenacity has earned him some unbelievable finds.
We were spearfishing and I saw this anchor shaft jutting out of the sand. It had to be, I figured out it was a Spanish ship. And I went back and started just finding all kinds of coins. There's a few Russian coins in there. There's some coins from India, copper maravedis, there's silver, there's a small amount of gold. My only danger so far has been great white sharks. I call it the guardians of the wreck.
And we'll visit with Art Apodaca, who got started metal detecting in the late 60s.
It was exciting because there was only about one of me, other guy in this whole county here with a metal detector. So we had prime land, we were finding old stuff.
All coming up on Treasure Hunting America. Hello and welcome to another episode of Treasure Hunting America. I'm your host, Mark Hendricks. For the next half hour, we'll share some amazing stories of everyday treasure hunters across the country, discovering vast antiquities and caches of yesteryear. Gary Edwards started treasure hunting in 1993 after a near-death car accident. Since then, he's found gold nuggets, jewelry, and a lost Spanish galleon.
I started metal detecting to recuperate from a very bad automobile accident. I was headed to a client with my portfolio, come up around a curve and I see this garbage truck come roaring down the hill and he didn't see me and I pulled off the road and he broadsided me. No broken bones, but just a lot of neurological damage. I'd lost 98% of the manual dexterity in one hand and 95 in the other.
For Gary, his therapy of metal detecting turned into an addictive hobby that would lead to bigger and better treasure.
I wasn't really that into it at first and then realized it could be for anybody. I always thought it was just a bunch of old geezers puttering around finding junk. I found some pennies, 1800s. My first 2-cent piece shocked me. I didn't even know there was such a thing as a 2-cent piece or a 3-cent piece. I graduated from parks and beaches to actually going to the library and doing research, historical research. I went to the county and went through their archives and found maps dating from the early 1900s, late 1800s. That was a source of location where the old roads, stagecoach stops, schoolhouse buildings that were on the old maps. It just snowballed on me as far as wanting to find more and more and more. I'm the kind of person that would set goals. Well, I'm going to find this, and I would look for that. I enjoyed it. You never know what you're going to find. This is a ruby and diamond ring that I found on the beach. These were a recent find. They're gold, amethyst, and diamond handmade earrings from circa 1920-ish. I have an incidental find that I found quite a few years ago on the Central Coast. I was using XLT whites and I got an iron reading, and I normally don't dig iron, but just on a whim I decided to dig it up. It was only about 4 inches deep and found this iron spearhead wrapped in an old desiccated piece of deer hide, I believe is what it was, with this ceremonial blade. I took it to an archaeologist and he dates it at about 200 years old. One of my recent finds just this last year was this gold matchbox case. It's got specimen gold inlaid, quartz, solid gold, and what's unusual about it is on the back is engraved San Francisco Bay prior to the Golden Gate Bridge being built, which was built in 1933. So this is pre-1933, I figure 1920, expensive gold matchbox. Research and persistence. I think that's the key to it. Don't give up. You're not going to find something every time you go out there. But the one time that you do find something wonderful, it makes it worth the 10 times you went out there and found some old junk.
When we return, Gary will share about his largest treasure find so far, a sunken Spanish galleon. While spearfishing off the coast of California, Gary was surprised to find an old ship's anchor and ballast balls 30 feet down. For him, it was the discovery of a lifetime.
I spent about a week and a half going up the California coast. We went up to Monterey and then coming back down, and I come up over a reef, 10 foot tops, the max of it, and dropped down, and I saw this anchor shaft jutting out of the sand. And as I dropped down to about 30 foot at the bottom of the reef, I noticed up against the reef were some ballast. I knew right away they were ballast piles, because you don't find round rock like that naturally occurring in piles at the bottom of the ocean. So I surfaced immediately there and took a bearing on the coast and continued my spearfishing with the idea of coming back someday. Didn't say a word to my buddies, and in between wanting to go back there, I had the accident, so I wasn't able to go back for about 5 years. And I went back and started just finding all kinds of different pieces of metal, and found some coins, and I've made 8 trips back there so far. I've actually made many trips back there, and if I didn't feel good about it, I didn't go in the water. I started from the ballast piles, working out onto the sand, looking for a rock structure, because I know anything heavy is going to go down onto the bedrock. Storms tend to stir things up. I had a scoop that I worked with. I figured out it's a Spanish ship, or ships, because I've found such a wide variety of dates that had gone across the Pacific and returning back. The Portuguese had what they called the Black Fleet, the Manila fleet that used to come down the coast of California. I think it's just the captain's hoard, or whatever you want to call it, his treasure box that he paid the sailors with, because there's copper maravedis, there's silver, there's a small amount of gold. Primarily copper maravedis and blancas, what are called blancas, and those were the lowest of the Spaniard denomination of coins. There's a few Russian coins in there, which they could have picked up going, along the coast of China. Above that, there's some coins from India. There's some British coins, which were common in use back then. There's some Dutch coins. The Dutch East India Company had a lot of coins in circulation at that time. But primarily, the majority of the coins I found are Spanish. I was just really jazzed finding history, knowing that this had been submerged for a long, long time. After I got home and started cleaning the coins and finding the dates, the period when those coins were from, then I really got excited, because these coins had been in the water for over 200 years. This is the earliest one. This is a Dutch ducat, or dalder they called them, 1589 Dutch dalder. This is a India phantom from the late 1600s, early 1700s. In the copper coins, there's quite a selection. There's 3 what are called kopecks. They're Russian coins from the mid 1700s, late 1780s. What I found interesting in researching these coins was that a kopeck, back at the time these were minted under Catherine the Great, would buy 40 eggs or 1 peasant. I've got some vellum coins in here that are silver and copper. The maravedis are the primary coins that I've got here. They were the lowest denomination of Spaniard coin. There's some that I've got that have been what are called counterstamped. When a king passed away, there was a change in a reign of kings. They would go back through their coins and stamp them with a date or the new king's emblem on them. They're called counterstamped. I've got some that have got 2 or 3 different counterstamps on them. Most of these come from the 1400s, 1500s. There's an English commemorative coin I found on the wreck commemorating Admiral Vernon taking Portobello with 6 ships. I researched that on the internet and found out that there were 7 or 8 different commemorative coins that were quite popular back in the 1700s, commemorating his feat of taking Portobello. An incidental find laying on the sand, and had been laying there for quite a while, obviously because of the barnacles and the incrustation, was a late 1600s Chinese porcelain plate. Another find on the ship was this English pewter spoon. It's got the British Rose and Crown stamp on it, so it was an English pewter sailor spoon that they ate with. This is a bronze timber spike from the ship. I've actually found quite a bit of iron out there that I've left alone, didn't mess with. I just wanted a couple pieces for my collection. This is an iron timber spike. These are copper planking or sheathing planking nails. They're all hand hammered copper. Another little unusual find I found out there on the ship was this gold cross, this crucifix. My only danger so far has been great white sharks. I've dove 8 times there and been escorted out of there 5 dives by great whites, and actually had one time. I thought I was safe. I surfaced in about 6 foot of water, feeling secure, and had one attack me and take a fin off and scar up my other fin. So I kept it as a souvenir. After the encounters I've had out there and the amount of coins I have under my belt now, I don't see any sense of raping the wreck for anything else. I've got a few artifacts and a good amount of coins, and I think I'll take my son there to show him where it's at, and whatever he does with it in his adulthood later on, he'll do. You know, I'm not showing the wreck to anybody else, and I don't want somebody to come in there and just pillage it and rape the site. So I've primarily left it pretty much alone.
When we return, Gary will take us out to his claim to find gold nuggets. Don't go away.
Well, here we are at the claim. I'm going to go down and find some gold with my detector. It's a section of the creek I've never worked before. We'll see what we can find. We found a few nuggets here behind me, and I'm going to head down the creek and do some grubbing for gold.
With a love for finding treasure, Gary recently registered a gold claim in the Sierra foothills.
A claim generally is located on public land. In this case, it's BLM. Anybody with the proper filing fees and documentation can file a claim on it. So that's what I did this year. Is I have a 20-acre claim up in an area that was known for producing gold. There's mines all around it. I will find all the pockets using a metal detector. It just saves a lot of time and a lot of earth moving to use a metal detector, locate the source, then run that through your machine, and whether it's a sluice or a dredge or your pan or a dry washer, it saves a lot of time. Well, what I'm doing here is working over some bedrock with this MXT of whites, and I like the bedrock because obviously you don't have to dig down to it. I'm getting some readings here of a 5% probability of iron or less, which means that I've got a non-ferrous metal in here, either lead or gold or brass. I'm going to dig away at it. Could be lead shot. You never know. Get what we call overburden out of the way. What I'm after is the gravel. It would be underneath here. And hopefully gold. Pretty heavy stuff there. Nothing fine yet. It's awful heavy. Well, I see something down here at the bottom of the hole. Really nice nugget with quartz in it. Hasn't traveled too far. Really rough. I know that's over ½ ounce of gold right there. Let's see what else, if there's anything else. Usually gold, if it's going to come, it'll be down in a pocket. Oh, well, here's another one. Laying in the bottom of the same pocket. I'm going to scrounge out the bottom of the pocket. See if I can find some more. Yep, here's another piece way down. My God. I'm going to have to get a screwdriver to get this one out. It's wedged down in the bottom. Another long piece. This is a crevicing tool. As you can see, it's really dull. It used to be about that long. I've wore it down, scratching in cracks through the years to get the gold out of the crevices. Gold is the heaviest thing there is, and it will go to the bottom of a crack. So you have to scratch it out quite often. And anyway, that's what I'm going to do right now, is scratch this piece of gold that's laying at the bottom of a crack here that washed down, I'm sure, with this year's storms. And we'll see what it looks like. It looks like a long, skinny piece. The reflection in the water is making it very hard on me right now. There it sits, and I can't. Oh, got it. All right. There's a vein, a quartz vein, in one place that I go to here that I have found pieces of what's called crystallized gold. It's the rarest form of gold there is. They have octahedral or octagonal crystals in it, where the gold actually chills fast enough that it forms crystals rather than chilling slowly. And I've cleaned these with, obviously I've cleaned them with nitric acid to bring out the luster and make them as pretty as I can. I think there's some people that genuinely get gold fever, as per se, and I regard it almost like a disease, really. They get really obsessed with it, where they might even perform criminal acts to get their gold. After you find your first nugget, you go, well, I can't wait to find my first half-ouncer. After you find your first half-ouncer, you go, well, I want my full ouncer. And I'm working on a couple ouncer now. I haven't found anything over an ounce, yet. I'm trying to find a 2-ouncer someday. I would say the first word that comes to my mind is satisfaction. Satisfaction of finding it, outsmarting Mother Nature, pulling the riches right from the ground with the aid of a metal detector.
When we return, we'll visit with Art Apodaca, who's been hunting the Sacramento Valley since the 1960s and found artifacts, jewelry, and valuable coins. Welcome back to Treasure Hunting America. Art lives in Merced, California, and has the perfect opportunity to hunt old ghost towns in the Sierra Nevada foothills. He doesn't look for gold, but finds delight in hunting what the 49ers left behind.
I got started back in 1969, just looking at a magazine, and it excited me looking at what they were finding, with a metal detector, and I figured, hey, that should be fun, So I ordered it through the mail, got it, and it must have rained for about 2 months that I couldn't even get out. At that time, they were not waterproof, but I figured out a way to do it waterproof. I just wrapped a plastic bag around it, and off I go, We had prime land, we were finding old stuff, old buffalo nickels. We just finding left and right, What kept me going is the exercise and, just getting out and relaxing, something like fishing, which I used to do before, but metal detecting took over it.
One of Art's favorite places to hunt is a large reservoir and longtime recreational area near his home.
This lake was made about 1900s, I think. Well, I even remember when I used to be a kid, I used to come back here in the 40s with my mom and dad. I just do it because I love it, and especially my wife loves it when I bring her those big diamond rings, Then she loves it, Once you're digging, and you're thinking, it could be a ring, could be, depends on the single that you got. If it's a big single, it could be something bigger, you're digging for big treasure. These are some gold items that I found around the lake, parks, and some old home sites also. Mostly the lake that I have found in the past few years. This is an old hammer I found in the Hornitas area. I was digging a single that I got, which was mostly come out square nails by a fence. I came into a big rock and I still was receiving a single. So I had to remove the big old boulder rock, but underneath it was the tack hammer. It's over 100 years old. These are silver rings that I have found also in the lake. The one on my thumb is my first silver ring that I have found, my first ring completely that I have found here at the lake. a detector becomes part of you. You know, you're kind of sensing what it's doing. You know, you could sense it was like another arm that you're down there, you know, sensing what you find. And you can get real good at it, you know, with a detector. Okay, you got a good single here. Got a good single there, let's see. Dig up here. Still down there. Okay. Hey, look at that. Look at that. What came out of it? Wow. I think we found a gold bracelet here. It looks like it was lost either going in to swim, or the latch might have come loose. It wasn't too deep. It was about 3 or 4 inches down. Gave a good single, and it pinpointed pretty good.
Just outside his home in the foothills of the Sierras, Art Apodaca has a wonderful opportunity to hunt old ghost towns.
Hornitos at one time had about 20,000 people, I believe. Most of the treasures that are believed to be buried are around the area, you know, maybe around Bagby, Coulterville. I have found old tools, stuff like old coins. In Hornitos area, I have detected a lot. I have found gold also.
Art is not going to give up treasure hunting anytime soon. He's still looking for that dream treasure.
I have found gold, I have found silver, I have found artifacts. The gold coin is still out there waiting for me.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Treasure Hunting America. Be with us next time as we explore more stories of everyday treasure hunters around the country. Until next time, I'm Mark Hendricks. Happy hunting! Treasure Hunting America is sponsored by White's Electronics, manufacturers of the world's finest metal detectors. For over 50 years, White's has been building metal detectors in the USA for treasure hunters around the world. For more information, visit their website or call the number on your screen.